Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel, Just Doing Me. I am Mimi. I know you're probably surprised to see me here. If you are, so am I. Oh my god, I can like see like what's it called, like cold air. Like it's really cold in the room I'm filming in, and I was going to turn the heater on, but it's one of those fan heaters, so you'd like really hear it in the background, so bear with the fumes, the cold fumes. But yeah, like you guys are probably surprised to see me here. I'm very surprised that I'm here. Like it's been a minute and a bit and a minute and a bit, and every time I've picked up my camera, like I have so much filmed content on this camera, but to sit down and actually edit and actually get the willpower to put myself back out there, and you're never really sure what kind of reception you're going to get. Is it going to be a lot of hate? Is it going to be a lot of negativity? Is it going to affect my mental state? Like I think that's been the biggest reason why I haven't vlogged or filmed videos in like really 2 years. I think my last video was about a year ago, but before that it was like ages as well. But like yeah, I shared a little bit about like how going to Nigeria and like the struggles financially and like just some of the troubles I'd experienced and hardships over the last 2 years since I kind of moved to Nigeria and moved back and managing my business. So if you don't know, not familiar, I moved to Nigeria in 2022 to open an events business, but I also ended up opening 2 restaurants. I opened one restaurant first, it was doing really well. I opened the second one, and then like the Nigerian economy crashed. The dollar to naira rate became ridiculous, and like people didn't have money, people weren't good. First thing people cut off when there's like issues economically is eating out, so people weren't going out to eat. Anyway, it massively impacted my business because I'd taken pounds to Nigeria, so all my mortgage was still in pounds, my business loans were in pounds. Like I had so many expenses in pounds, but by the time I took like the naira earnings and then converted it back to pounds, it was nothing. And I know a lot of businesses have closed Nigeria in the last year and a half. I know people have committed suicide. I know it's been really tough and challenging, you know, across the board. But you know, thank you Jesus that like he told me to leave that country when I did, and I've been back in the UK now for roughly about a year. But that's not what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is Nigeria and how everybody are thieves. I don't care. I don't care. I said it. Everybody in that country is a thief. No, like obviously it's a massive generalization. I'm Nigerian myself, you know. Am I a thief? No, but yes, the majority of people in that country are thieves, and I'm saying it with my chest. I don't want to hear nobody tell me, how can you say that? I have experienced the shege that country has shown me, and not just the country, but the people. I have come back to YouTube. I've come back to YouTube to vent, like for real. Like, so obviously the economy made a big impact on the success of my business, but other than that, the people made such a big impact. They stole from me left, right, center. Any chance they got, they stole. And you know, I was very naive going in. I remember like filming a video like over 2.5 years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna do things differently. I want to go back, I want to help my people, I want to treat people really well. And people were commenting like, in that Nigeria, people were sharing their experiences of like what Nigerians had done to them in business and like their parents. I think someone said like, my mum had the same mentality, but by the time you actually truly encounter what Nigerians are like, your attitude will shift. And I used to watch my dad, because my dad has a business out there, and like he would send like his staff to do things, and he would stand over his staff and watch them do things. And I'd be like, what's the point? Why can't you delegate? What's the point in owning this business and then feeling like you have to stand there and watch people? I totally get it, because if you are not watching them, they are just stealing, they're doing whatever they like. Like anyway, I've been saying they're stealing. Let me just go through the long lists of what these people have done to me, and why I had to come back to the UK, and why I will not be going back there for like any business ventures. I think like when you grow up here, there's a certain naivety you have, because I'm not saying people don't steal here, but it's nowhere near as rampant Like everyone stole from me at every level. Security stole, waitresses stole, bar staff stole, kitchen staff stole, management stole. There's nobody that did not collect my money. There's nobody. As you see me here now today, I have no money. They're the ones that are enjoying my money for me. I hope people are happy. Anyway, so let's start like for some of the experiences that I had in that country. Okay, so first of all, just to say, like, I paid everybody a fair wage in the country. I used to give them, when I first got there, 2 staff meals a week. I think I did that for like the first year. Every weekend, I think it was Friday and Saturday, they'd get a budget, they'd pick out what they wanted, they'd decide what they wanted to eat. And I probably had about 20 members of staff at that point, like 5 waitresses, 4 kitchen staff, 2 security guards, 3 supervisors, like cleaners, 2 cleaners. Like, I was feeding a lot of people. So they would write out what they wanted 2 days a week. They would go out to the market, buy it, they would cook it, they would eat. Like, I thought it was like a family style, like, yeah, something to like bond. If I knew now if I knew then what I knew now, I was feeding the people that were running my business into the ground. I was feeding the people that were stealing from me. Okay, so let me give you some of the ones that I caught, because a lot of it I didn't catch because I was so naive. But some of the ones that I caught. Okay, so one of the first ones I caught onto were the waitresses. Now, they were the biggest thieves because they interacted with the customers directly, and the customers would pay the waitresses, and then they would then like pass it on to me. So I'm just going to give you some of the instances, like the ways that they used to steal. So the first one I caught onto was stock was going missing. So we had a system where they would write down what the customer ordered in the kitchen on a board. The customer would make it. I mean, the chef would make it. It would go out to the table. So I now started noticing that, like, in my ordering system, they have an app where they put the orders in. In the app, it might say 4 fishes were sold, but the kitchen board would say 5. And then I noticed that, like, so I'm like, where did the fish go? Where's the like 5k for the fish? Because it was definitely sold. The kitchen prepared it, it went out, but you've not charged it in the system. Oh, I'm so sorry, I must have forgotten to input it into the system. No, what they would do is they would not put it on the charging system. They would take the bill to the client and they would be like, oh, I forgot to add the fish. The total might be 25k, and they're like, oh, I forgot to add the fish, it's actually 30k. The customer would pay 30. That's another thing they used to do. So they used to have the business bank accounts. They used to have like payment machines that go straight to the business bank accounts. What they would actually do is get the customer to pay into either their account or their friend's account, and then they would then make a payment to me. So they'd get 30k and they would then make a 25k payment to me and keep the 5k. All of them were doing it for months, and then on top of that they would get like tips as well. So I would be giving them tips after every shift because they would tell me this is how much this table tipped. The total on the table was 50k. They paid 52k. Meanwhile, that extra 2k was a drink that they would tell the customer they didn't charge. So if they couldn't get the money straight into their bank account and the customer paid me directly through like the payment machine, 52k, they would say that that missing 2k was a tip, and I would give them back the money. Meanwhile, it's a drink that they actually didn't charge. Now, drinks were really hard to keep on top of because we do cocktails, so it's like, okay, yeah, it's just really hard. There's not like one can that we pour into cocktails. It's like different mixes of different drinks. So it was really hard to keep on top of stock checks. But I'm not gonna lie and say like I was on my game. I was trying to manage so many different businesses. I was delegating, and obviously delegating to the wrong people. This is why my dad does not delegate, because the people that you're delegating to will be the ones stealing from you. I remember, so I fired a lot of waitresses over the time. As like things would come out, I would fire them. The new ones too would bring in new methodologies of stealing. In fact, I'm pretty sure the old waitresses were recommending their friends as like, yes, that one is an idiot, go work for her, you will get to steal so much money. So yeah, so the waitresses, that's primarily how they used to steal. I think at one point I got like stickers and I put them down on the table, and the sticker said, do not pay any money into any account that is not the business account. If somebody asks you to do that, you know, like, they're stealing from you, they would still find a way. I remember one point, like, customers would message me on Instagram that they're not happy about this, that and the other. One of them, they were like, and your prices, why can't you have your right prices on your menus? I'm like, what are you on about? Our prices on our menus are correct. She's like, no, when we got there, they told us because of everything that's happening in the country, prices are changing. They would add 1,000, 2,000 to every single item on the bill, on the menu, and then the customers who didn't know any better would pay it. And because Nigeria was going through a lot economically, prices were changing every day, it was very feasible that like the prices had kind of changed overnight. So customers are complaining to me, and I'm going back to them, and they're lying with their chest. I'm like, this is the message. She has sent me screenshots of how much she actually paid on her bill. I can see what you put in the system and how much you gave me, so you're fired. Take your lies elsewhere. I remember one lady, oh, this one really pissed me off. This lady, she complained to me on Instagram. She was saying that the cups that she was served with were badly scratched, and she wasn't happy with that. And I'm looking, because the type of cup she was complaining about is only used in one of my restaurants. I'm looking at like our orders for that day, and I'm like, we did not have a single table in that restaurant where you're saying you had the cup. She sent me like proof of her payment. She sent me like pictures of her sitting in that restaurant, like the more expensive restaurant. So we have like two restaurants. One is more premium. The food is relatively similar, but like the cutlery, the cups, the dining, the decor, everything is more premium in one restaurant. So what this waitress had done was she had charged all of the first restaurant's prices, which were lower, to a table that were paying the second restaurant's prices. So about 17k of money that she had taken from one single table. And in the system, I'm not going to know because they bought a bottle of wine, but she'd put the bottle of wine through as cheaper price. So I'm not going to know when it says like, oh, one fish was sold, da, 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 da. And I was just like, how long have you been doing this? Devil, Satan, how long has he been using you like this? And she denied it up until the point where I put up the pictures. I'm like, is this not restaurant too? Why did you put everything as restaurant? I'm so sorry. I had her arrested at that point. Like, you people have tried me too much. I had her arrested. You know, I said, if you don't pay back 25 grand at least, because if you could steal 17k from just one table that I caught, I can't even imagine how much you've stolen from other tables. So if you don't pay at least 25k back, so she had to pay it before I let the police release her. She then started sending me long messages about how I'm evil, how I'm this. I say, you are obviously being used by Satan himself. I'm the one that's evil. Me that I've been feeding you, you have been comfortably still. I'm the one that's evil. Man, those waitresses showed me pepper. There's this one waitress, every day she'll be praying, ma, I pray for the business, I pray things improve, I pray this, I pray that, I pray this and the other. I can't even remember how I caught her, but I was so disappointed in her because me, I'm a Christian. I take God very seriously. In that country, God is just for decoration. God is just for show. The people that be shouting God the most are the most evil. And I was so shocked. Obviously, I fired her on the spot, but I was so shocked. Let me jump actually to another person who was quoting God up and down. It was this guy. He came to my... So I've also got the event business side of things. We do a lot of weddings in the venue. He came to decorate the venue one day for another... We weren't decorators for another event. And I got his details and I'm like, okay, one day when we're decorating, I can, you know, hire you, use you. And he was always posting every single day, God did this, God that, on his like WhatsApp stories. So I'm like, one day I'm going to use you. So one day I did use this guy. He did the job very well. It was a job in Lagos. We were actually operating in Ibadan, but we went to Lagos to do a wedding there. And then we needed to hire like a big bus type taxi thing to take all the staff, all the decor back to Ibadan. So I asked him, can you please go and arrange it and bring the bus, and we'll wait while we pack up. He goes, whatever, arranges everything. So I send him the money. It was like 100k. I send him the money to pay the bus driver. He said that's the least the bus driver would take. Me, I was expecting it to be about 70k, but probably lying to me and stealing there, but what can you do? So I sent him the 100k. He told me he didn't receive the money, and this was a time where we were having lots of like network issues in the country where like payments were being sent and not received. But there was one specific bank that their payments were always going through OPay, and that's how I sent it to avoid that kind of situation. But he had me kind of like with a to my, you know, I needed that bus. We needed to get back. I was paying hotel rooms for everybody that was working in Lagos. We had to get back that day. So I had to send the payment twice, and he said he got the second payment. So he was like, when the money comes through, I'll send it back to you. 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, constantly chasing. Like, have you really not seen the money? No, ma, I haven't seen it. I promise you I haven't seen it. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I said that's a lie. Like, I knew it was a lie, but like, because it does happen where payments fail, but usually within 5 days it's resolved, the money comes back. 3 weeks? Are you actually kidding me? So I finally like contacted, because he was sending me screenshots of like messages he'd apparently had with the bank, and that he was waiting. He was sending me screenshots that showed that of his emails that he had apparently raised with the bank. So I was a bit confused, like, is this real? Contacted the bank. They told me that payment I made arrived within 2 minutes that same day. So the time this man was telling me he didn't receive the payment, he had it in his bank account. He had it in his bank account. The 3 weeks he was sending me up and down, not received, he had it in his bank account. Till today, never got that money back. I've gotten all the apologies, I've gotten all the begging, never got that money back. And God just told me, just leave it, just whatever. But the God ones are even the worst of the worst. All right, then one time I hired a chef. It was a brand new chef. Hired him, and he would just be eating my food. I'm like, you don't eat my food just because you're in the kitchen. He would say, he will cut off half a ribeye steak and say he has to taste it because he's the chef. I'm like, even if you want to taste it, taste a slither. My guy will cut half the steak and be eating like rearing a championship breed. Like, are you mad? With my money, are you mad? So one day I caught him and the junior chef warming up rice and chicken in the microwave, and I'm like, is that not my rice and chicken? He said yes. I said, so why are you warming it up? He says, well, this is the story. I carried my food and I put it back. I said, don't you dare warm up my food. I'm not feeding you. Like, you have house, you have kitchen in your house, you have job, you have salary. Plus I give you guys staff food every weekend. Don't you dare warm up my food to eat. It says, okay, ma'am. The next day I go back to where I put that food. It's gone. So where's the food? They're all looking at me. Where is the food? In the end, the second junior chef confessed and was like, he ate it. I told him not to eat it. He ate it. Him to sit here and what? Like, he thought because he's the head chef, I fired him on the spot, because I don't understand the level of insanity where you've already seen that I've checked on something and you thought the very next day you would just, I don't understand it. But that's the level of stupidity that I was dealing with. All right, then there's one security guard came one day. We're obviously doing events. We have these tables, they have like wooden tops and like iron legs, and you join them together, and those are the tables we use for events. One event one day, we could not find any of the iron legs for our tables. About 8 of them, all gone. Other 2 security, one confessed and said that his neighbor, his colleague, had sold all my iron. Sold all my iron for extra money. Okay, had that one arrested too. At least that one I didn't have to pay him his salary that month. Like, what are you gonna do? Had that one arrested too. The worst one, and I'm not going to go through all of them because we're running out of time. I just want to tell you, when I say that Nigerians are thieves, they are really thieves. Oh, they are really thieves. And everybody complains about like the government stealing that. If the average Nigerian got into office, they would be stealing just as badly. They would. I don't care. I said it with my chest. They would. They are their own problem. They are their own, like, yeah. This was the one that hurt the most, because this was a girl that had worked with me, you know, almost right from the beginning, like 2022. She'd worked with me for over 2 years and I really trusted her. She was the one that I put in charge of doing all my stock checks. I made her a manager, and then like she was the only one I gave access to the social media. It was getting to a point where I was managing 2 restaurants, I was managing the event business in Nigeria, I was back in the UK managing the UK events business, and I was just like, I can't do it all. I gave her access to my social media for all the restaurants, like, because she's on the ground, she can take the pictures of people having a good time, she can upload the content, she can reply back to messages. How I found out she was stealing from me. Meanwhile, prices are skyrocketing. Like, I was literally saying to her, we need to up our prices for events, we need to up our prices. She told me, no, things are really bad in the country, people can't afford it, I shouldn't increase the prices until 2025, people can't afford it. So she was convincing me to keep my prices low. Come to find out, okay, how I found out, we had 2 events one day, and we usually have one event for one room for smaller events. So when she told me somebody would ask to do a second event, I told her just say no because we don't have the room. And then she was like, yeah, but there's a second room upstairs, we can clean it up, we can, you know, tidy it, we can make it nice. I'm like, okay, I like that she's proactive, I like that she's like doesn't want to turn down money. Cool. I said, okay, do that. I got all the other staff to clean the room, get it ready. I did the decor for the first event, like I plan everything and I send it my designs over WhatsApp. I check everything by video. Am I happy with it? So the people for the second event came first, the one upstairs, and they were like, what is this? This is not what we discussed with the lady. I'm like, I know how much you paid and I know what I offer in that bracket. This is more than what you even paid. Like, you should be happy. And this woman is screaming. She's going downstairs to the first event. She's like, this is what we asked for, this is what we wanted, this is what we paid for. She was grabbing stuff from the first event to take it upstairs. I'm like, you need to let me speak to this woman because I'm about to have a word with her. Like, I was kicking off, she didn't want me to speak to her. In the end, I called the other staff and I'm like, I'm going to speak to this woman. So my manager now calls me back and she's like, I'm so sorry, Ma, I have to confess. She had taken 80k of the money that woman had paid for the decor, kept it. So what she was doing, what I didn't realize, was the client was paying her directly at the prices I said I wanted to increase to. Client was paying her directly. And then she would then get her friend to send me the money minus the actual money, minus her cut, 80k. And that's like 80k from like, so she would give me like 200k or 220k from a 300k booking. And I wouldn't know because I would see the name that's sending the money to my account. I don't know the client's name, I'm not the one talking to them, but she's obviously just sent the money to her friend and said send that on. I don't know how she was doing it, but the truth all came out and she's telling me she's so sorry, she wasn't her intention to steal, yada 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 yada. This was another God one, God this, God that, may God bless the business, praying for me every day. Like, I thought of her as like kind of a sister. Like, I was just shocked. Like, I was just like, I never saw it coming from. I never aspired it. I really never aspired it. So when I tell you Nigerians have shown me pepper, the Nigerian economy has dealt bitterly with me, but the Nigerians themselves, my friends, I am not the naive girl I was when I went to that country. I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of money, but I've gained a lot as well. I've gained a lot in terms of like just understanding people and just realizing that just because you're an honest person, it does not mean other people are. And I try and give people grace for like, it's a bad economy, maybe they were hungry, but I'm like, every single one of you was earning a good wage, every single one of you was being fed by me. I give good bonuses, like I reward good behavior, I reward good performance. You were just stealing out of greed. You were just stealing from me out of greed. You people have run my business into the ground because of greed. I hope you're happy, oh. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you guys have missed me. I hope you guys will be sticking around for more because I do have more to share. I don't know if I've mentioned, but I've actually closed both of those restaurants. I closed them in January 2025. Wasn't worth the headache, wasn't worth the drama, couldn't trust anybody I hired. It just, yeah. So love you guys. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh, and my new Instagram is @Mimi and a mic.